That's right. Can't beat that. That's amazing. Honestly, I don't know. But from what we've heard from our listeners, that is a heck of a deal, and Madison Reed is the best hair color going out there.
I'm told.
These women, they tell us, we get messages about hair color, which is a strange message for me to get in the morning.
I don't dye my scalp.
That's the thing, yeah. My hair it's brown, I don't know. It's brown. I'm a guy, put a hat on most of the time, it's fine. But ladies who care about their hair and are using this dye say this is the only way to go. This is better than a salon. It's at home. It's because honestly, you could either go to a salon. It takes forever, first of all, hours, and it's expensive.
And now the appointment
color
days
your hair
out forever.
That's the other thing. And to color your hair, it's like hundreds of dollars. It's a huge, long experience. Either that or you had some outdated, on the shelf stuff that didn't work real well and your whole head was dyed.
Right.
You had dye going down to your forehead. It's a bad scene.
Right.
Madison Reed isn't like that. Madison Reed will make your life better.
Easy.
That's how good it is. It's a game-changing, ammonia-free color you can do at home, and you look just like you came from the salon. Master colorists make this who blend nuances of light, dark, cool, and warm tones to create over 55 shades. There's 55 shades. So you're thinking, oh, will they match my color? Yes, they will give you the tools you need so you can color with confidence. They will. They will, and Madison Reed is fantastic. You should really try it now. Find your perfect shade at madison-reed.com. And our listeners get 10% off plus free shipping on their first color kit with code SmallTownMurder. That's code SmallTownMurder at madison-reed.com.
Now back to the show.
He'll come up empty there as he misses the off-speed pitch for strike.
Just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about one of our favorites, Simply Safe.
SimplySafe.com.
Hey, D.
How
you doing?
That is right. Let me ask you a question. What's the #1 sign of a bad home security system? How about one that's so complicated you don't use it? That's because you don't even know how to do it. So you're like, well, I don't want this to go off while I get a glass of water in the morning, so or, middle of the night, I go to the bathroom, so I'm not going to turn it on. You might as well not have one at that point.
Useless.
No matter how expensive and crazy it is, it's what it is here, and that's exactly the type of security system Simply Safe has spent a decade fighting against. Simply Safe is not going to give you one of these complicated systems you can't use. Simply Safe is there for you. They believe that simple is safer, and it's exactly why Simply Safe is the home security system for right now, when feeling safe at home has never been more important. Simply Safe was designed to be easy while protecting your home 24/7, your entire home. Order online with the click of a button, open the box, place the sensors up where they go, plug it in, and your home is protected around the clock.
Deal.
That is literally as easy as it gets, and we know this because we've been here.
Right.
We've done this. We ordered Simply Safe. We hooked it up in our houses. I did it myself.
It's simple and it's safe.
Yeah, and I've described in shows that I can't put together an IKEA desk, but I can install a home security system in like 15 minutes, because that's what I did. You don't need, no technician's going to come out and drill your house all up and rip your drywall.
What? Yo.
Mess your paint up. No sales.
What's up, buddy?
Hey,
I asked you a question.
None of that. You don't need to pay outrageous monthly fees either, or one of these 2-year contracts, so they have you in this. You don't need to do any of that.
That's where I was leaning. It's affordable.
That's what I mean. No, this here, Simply Safe, has 24/7 professional monitoring and emergency dispatch that starts at 50 cents a day. Simple as can be. That's the deal, considering that Simply Safe was named Best Overall Home Security System of 2020 by U.S. News and World Report, and they deserve it because it's fantastic. Like we said, we installed it in our house. We trust not only our homes and our kids and everything else, our studio, our livelihood.
Right.
Everything's entrusted to Simply Safe because that's how good it is. It's just excellent. So head to simplysafe.com/small and get free shipping and a 60-day money-back guarantee. That's SimplySafe, SimplySafe.com/small, to make sure that they know that our show sent you.
Now back to the show.
So, yeah. This was, by the way, to the left of Frank's head this was found, and he is right-handed. Okay. So that not where you would write, probably, unless you couldn't move your right hand. All you can move is your left hand, because you've been, hit with a hand cannon.
Or unless you roll over and do it with your right hand.
That's possible. Problem is, no blood at all was found on Frank's right hand, but there was blood noted on his left hand. Now, deputies around here also found a note in an open suitcase nearby. All right, with the words in it reading, quote, "I love Fran, self-defense, and Dean," each written twice, and the words, quote, "Fran, I love you," written once.
What's happening?
So he wrote all that allegedly twice, and it's on this note, and Fran, I love you once. Okay, very strange. Now, a deputy asks Fran what Frank had been shot with, and she handed him a fully loaded Colt Python 357.
That's a badass gun.
That is a big fucking mean gun.
It's a big silver one.
Oh, yeah. She said that she reloaded the weapon while she called the sheriff's department to report the shooting. Because, you know, when the cops come, it's important to have a loaded 357 around. It's always the best course of action, obviously, in your house when you're a suspect for something like a shooting that you said you did.
I mean, I got the one guy, but just in case somebody else gets in, now my gun's unloaded.
Yeah. He's like Christmas stories. Like, you never know. If I need my red rifle, Red Ryder BB gun, they could be coming over the walls at me.
I would have that thought, though, because I'm a lunatic. I'd be like, well, this thing's useless if somebody else comes in, so I've got to reload it and sit here and wait.
The odds are probably once in a lifetime this would happen. But it could happen twice in 15 minutes, I think, right? That's possible.
Before the police get here.
You can have a pal coming through. So now when the police get there, Frank is still alive. They determine he is still alive.
An hour after the shooting.
An hour after the shooting. Deputies requested assistance from the rescue squad, obviously. They get there, the ambulance and everything.
Another hour later.
45 minutes later. Franny, at that point, is sitting on the arm of the chair next to Frank, just smoking a cigarette, hanging out. Just fucking, I don't know, you might want to do something about this corpse on my floor. Yeah. That's what I picture. Right. In response to questioning, Franny states that she did not know where she shot Frank or how many times. I don't know, he's just all full of holes. I don't know.
Oh, there's blood everywhere.
Got a light?
Yeah.
I'm out of camels, honey. I'm running to the store quick. Can I make a run? So now these rescue squad members, they say that Frank was lying on the floor on his left side in the fetal position, knees drawn up to his chest, and he was biting on a pillow and moaning. What? You know, because he's dying in horrible pain from being shot. A bag containing a package of lunch meat was found underneath his side. So he's got some cold cuts with him. Yeah. Which is, how many times do we have a murder and the guy's lying on top of cold cuts? I don't think that's ever happened before. There's several firsts in this story. This is getting weirder and weirder. I mean, have blood written in notes, cold cuts, pigs. What the fuck is happening?
The lady that cares about animals.
Hey, Dave.
Here's a little chopper up the middle. And no chance on the throw, so a great effort, but that'll be scored a base hit. Cody Bellinger at the plate now, as he sends it on the ground to first. To second for one, on to first, and they get them both. Coming to the plate now, Jazz Chisholm. Ready with the first pitch. Here it comes. Here's a swing, and he loses the bat from it.
He's got good clotting time, this guy.
Only needs a doctor for 2 of these.
Jesus Christ. By 6:30, though, Frank had no discernible blood pressure, pulse, or respirations, and was totally unresponsive. They tried to do CPR, and it was unsuccessful, and he's pronounced dead at 7 p.m., 4 minutes after the rescue squad arrived. So, I mean, it took till 6:56. So it took an hour and a half after he got shot before he was seen by medical personnel. Otherwise, he would have probably lived.
Yeah.
I mean, if you lived for an hour and a half, if they got you in, and you probably would have been fine. You know, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but the chances are
much better chance.
Much better
if
chance.
You're talking to police officers an hour and some change after being shot. Pretty good chance you get survived 15 minutes after.
I would say. So Franny is taken into custody as a material witness. Just to, you know, they got to get a full statement from her. Even if it's self-defense, the clear cut, as she's saying, it's a case of self-defense. You have to get a statement. You can't just go like, all right, we'll clean it up and have a good night. Like, you know, all right, there. Make sure to keep it loaded in case somebody else comes.
You're going to court either way.
Either way, yeah, you got something to talk about. She commented several times to a deputy that it, quote, did not turn out like on TV. She says to a deputy. TV, it looks the best. That's how they want it to look.
You've been in a car accident? Did your car explode? Of course it doesn't look the same.
That would have been way cooler. I've been in a lot of car accidents. My car never exploded. That would have been a good picture afterwards. You know, people always post their picture online like, there it is. Burst into flames. So Sheriff Eisenbeast testifies later on that when he inquired how Franny was standing up under the events of the day, how you holding on, she responded that it was self-defense and that Frank was going to kill her and that Frank had made threats to her and that he was going to get the Gats boys after her. That was where the Gats boys came in. And she talked to her friend and she said, oh, I talked to the Gats boys' mom and she said they're nice boys. They're not going to do anything. They'll take care of your pig for you. They're great. So Franny apparently told the sheriff, quote, maybe he wouldn't have done anything to me, but I've read where women waited too long to defend or protect themselves. So she's like, I'd rather be safe than sorry. If I'm going to have some guy come in my house and he's going to, you know, some fucking weirdo farmhand come try to attack me, I'm going to shoot first, ask questions later.
It's a great hypothesis.
Which, I mean, that sounds reasonable, honestly. If you're a single woman out here on a farm by yourself in the middle of nowhere, who knows what could happen to you?
What else did you buy that gun for?
That's what I mean. So, Franny expressed hope that the sheriff could maybe test her hands for the presence of blood, quote, so they don't think I wrote the note in blood. Why would you even think that?
We haven't even gotten there yet.
Yeah, why
asked you how you're doing.
How you doing? Well, test my hands, just so you know. Weird. She informed the sheriff that Frank had written the note in blood. Just so you know, it wasn't me, because he wrote it. I watched him. The sheriff testifies later on that he didn't observe blood on Thompson's hands at the time. Didn't see any on Franny's hands. The autopsy comes in on Frank, revealed a wound from a bullet which entered his left abdomen and exited his back. That's a big exit wound for a .357. 2 other bullets entered from the back. So there's 2 to the back.
2 in his back.
They mistook an exit for entrance on one of them here. 1 entered Frank's right hip, shattering his hip bone and lodging in the bone.
Oh, this is what happened to my cousin.
Oh, that's brutal. The other entered his right back, passed through his liver and right lung, and exited through his lower chest, striking his right elbow area.
I don't know that he was
tore him the fuck apart.
I don't know that he was going to survive, James.
They might have been able to patch up that fucking lung, because the liver you can put back together.
Really?
They might have been able to patch that lung up. If it's one lung, he didn't hit his heart.
Yeah.
So that's what we've heard.
Depends. She's so close too, though.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
The fact that he lived that long just seems like they could have maybe done something. I mean, who knows what would have happened, but he had a chance anyway, a fighting chance at it. During the course of this investigation, deputies find 3 bullet holes in Franny's dining room floor next to where Frank had been lying.
That's no good.
That's weird. Path of the bullet was reconstructed by placing rods through the dining room floor in order to determine the angle which the bullets were fired. Yeah. Obviously, that's a cool job.
Yeah.
That's a neat job to have.
Cool.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
The CSI stuff. That's
yeah,
fun.
that's some cool shit. You wouldn't expect it. In this case, you would expect, like, then the mayor came over and trampled the crime scene and brought his dog with him, and he shit next to where the body was and ruined all the forensic evidence.
Spilled his coffee on the guy's face.
In this town, that's what you'd expect. You know what I mean? Well, he was going to survive, and then the head
boiled him alive.
The district attorney spilled coffee into the wound, and it just infected him, and he went from there. It's fucking insane.
I was eating a sandwich dripping mustard on the end.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I dripping mustard? Christ. So those 3 bullets appeared to have been fired from an area in the dining room in front of the doors to Franny's storage room, not from the computer desk, like she said. Now, Franny claimed that she was standing next to her computer when she shot Frank, like we said. No blood was found anywhere in the house except in the immediate area where Frank was lying. And when the cops arrived, even though Franny will say that Frank moved around quite a bit after being shot, but there's only blood in one concentrated area. Now, Franny admits that there's an ashtray full of cigarette butts, which could have been hers, she said, on top of a refrigerator in the storage room. They're going to say, were you hanging out in the storage room? And she's like, no, it could have been mine. I don't know. I might have stuck an old ashtray up there. Who knows, is what she's saying here. This, by the way, that room was one where you could see the front of the house. That's where she went to look, she said, for Frank's car, is that storage room. The sheriff will say later on that Franny told him she heard Frank open the kitchen refrigerator door, and she thought he took off his boots in the kitchen. The pictures from the area of the computer room demonstrate that the kitchen area, including the refrigerator, could easily be seen by a person at the computer. So you didn't have to hear anything, you could just look at it, it's right there. So deputies also found 2 cans of mace in Franny's bedroom and a loaded .25 caliber handgun under her pillow. She is not fucking around. Here's the mace first, and then buck. Right. She's coming. Now, yeah, so, Jesus Christ.
Well, Saturday Night Special, Under the Pillow.
Yeah, so she writes this, all the shit I told you about Arthur and everything like that. She said that, now the sheriff said he got there at 5:35 as well. That was actually there. Now when she called the sheriff, it was recorded as saying, quote, "I just shot somebody. He came in my house. He was going to kill me." She makes it sound like it's like a stranger, so that's how it's going here. So now back to the investigation. This is kind of where stuff starts to come up. When they arrived at the house, though, Deputy Don Henry observed the bullet holes in the floor at the angle that the person would be shooting downward toward the floor. So another deputy examined the crime scene and determined that Frank was hit with multiple rounds there, and that the bullet hole angles in the floor indicated that she fired 3 shots as he lay on the floor. That's what they figured out. Those are there. One of the deputies stated that it appeared to me that those 3 rounds had indeed missed Mr. Frank because of the fact that there was no blood spatters or blood marking around the entry of the holes to these bullets to the floor. So she was like shooting at him as he was trying to
moving?
I guess that's what they're saying here. Deputy Henry observed in the autopsy noted 6 wounds inflicted on the victim here. Looks like it's an entrance. The pathologist who performed the autopsy said that 2 wounds were fatal. I assume the
one that went
through the liver and the lung.
The one that went through the hip is not a good one either.
Yeah, well, they said that the bullet that entered the right rear of his back and exited the right front part of his abdomen was definitely fatal because the liver was destroyed. It wasn't just a hole, it was fucked. Totally destroyed as it passed through the body, leaving no chance for survival. Furthermore, they said the bullet entered the left front abdomen and exited the left rear area of his back. Could also have been a fatal shot because of the damage to 1 kidney and a bowel.
God damn it.
Just in bleeding and everything else. Dr. Randall, however, advised that Frank could have probably survived the kidney wound if it had been the only wound, but everything altogether, too much. So the autopsy report says he suffered 3 gunshot wounds, like we just said. They were, during the trial later on, he will say that Frank could have only lived about 10 to 15 minutes after suffering the gunshot wound to the liver and lung. Hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not an hour and a half, about 15 minutes. And those kids heard 3 shots, and there's 6 shots fired.
Right.
So sometime between calling the cops and the cops getting there, somehow that shot happened to him.
Wow.
Doctor basically says there's no way that shot, he lasted an hour and a half.
She blasted the floor and then waited for him.
So we don't know. So furthermore here, according to Dr. Randall, Frank appeared to survive the wound to the upper left abdomen for some time. Thus, he believed the 3 gunshot wounds were not inflicted at the same time, and that Thompson possibly fired the fatal shot to Frank's right back shortly before the sheriff's and rescue personnel arrived.
What the fuck?
Okay, so the Knox County Sheriff signed the death certificate saying he died at 7 p.m. The remaining portion of the death certificate, which Thomas, this is the county attorney, John Thomas, was responsible for filling out, indicated the immediate cause of death as multiple trauma due to gunshot wounds to the abdomen, and the time interval between the onset and the death is 1 hour 25, because that's what she said. Said I shot him here, and at the time, filling out the death certificate at 7 o'clock, then they had no reason to doubt it. She was the one who did it. Who else would know?
This is wild.
This gets even fucking wilder.
This woman's nuts, man.
Well, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
Is this guy crazy, stalking farmhand? What's going on? Well, we find out that things changed a lot in the summer of '91, around June. June 16th, 1991, Franny spent the night at Frank's trailer. Okay, according to Franny, what she says, Frank suggested, this is what she says, in a, quote, business-like way, that the two could marry, and that he could take over the running of the farm so they could pursue organic farming, like she wants to. So Franny said she was interested in working her mother's farm and doing an organic thing, rather than leasing it out, but she didn't know shit about farming, and Frank knows everything about farming, but he doesn't have a farm. Seems like a good business arrangement. This is like a 1800s business arrangement.
I have what you need.
I have what you need. You have what I need. So hey, what the hell?
Let's do it.
Let's dowry up and get this shit done.
You don't like me, I don't like you. We'll do it.
Who cares? I'm out working on the farm here in the house, doing whatever you do. We'll figure it out. No, we'll make some kolaches and we'll fucking worry about it. So now Franny denied that she was interested in marriage or sex with Frank. Okay? She completely denies that to the cops. Never happened. We were never in a relationship. Crazy time.
Yeah.
Okay? So they find a note that he has.
Yeah. Where he details, because they'd like to detail everything they fucking do.
That's the thing.
He's sitting there detailing all the sexual shit they do.
She likes to write notes, is the thing. She likes to write notes, receive notes, make notes, so these things tend to stick around is the problem. So they find a note written on Tuesday, June 25th, almost 2 months before the murder, where Franny wrote Dean Frank telling him that the cost of a certificate of sexual health from the University Health Center would be about $103.28. And that this project could cost him over $200.
Who the hell needs that?
She said, this is what she wrote in the letter, quote, "Woo, I was hoping to do this all with blood out of my arm. They insist they have to," this is capital letters, "they insist they have to make you take your clothes off and spread your legs." And "your" is Y-E-R, by the way, just to make it annoying. Ugh, with a U.
Yeah.
It's long, capital letters. "Makes me sick." Well, I'm telling you, if you're going to do it, I'm telling you this, you're going to do it too. Ick, ick, ick. I know this was the idea to make you do it too, but I mean you have to take all the same tests I do. That's what she says here.
Says what? She's never been to a gynecologist before?
No, tests, STD tests they're going to have to see. Because she wants to test him, and they said, well, we'll both get tested. So she was clearly interested in the sexual relationship with him. She's going to get tested for it. She said that basically Franny was saying that, you know, maybe she thinks that he's been around a little bit is the thing. Then later on in the day, she writes another letter to him, continuing, where she says, quote, "I just reread what I wrote yesterday, and I bet I know how you're reacting to it. Bet you're thinking something paranoid, like, gee, she sounds like she wants to back out. Damn it. I'm quite nicely giving you every opportunity to back out. You don't have to look for double meanings in what I write. So if you want to back out, fine, but not me. Whatever." So they asked her, what did you mean by any of this? Like, what's going on? So she said, "I was trying to give him a chance to back out, hoping he would take it because I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to get involved in any sexual relationship at all. I didn't want him to think and figure out what I was really thinking. I didn't want him to know, and had I never told him that I just wasn't interested in him sexually. I didn't come out and tell him that. I was giving him an opportunity to back out, but I didn't tell him why I wanted him to take it."
That's not what she said.
No, not at all. That's what she then later on in the letter, Franny informs Dean that she has changed her mind about going to summer school all summer and has dropped 2 classes so she could be home from mid-July to late August. She invited him to join her in Lincoln for the 4th of July. Also in this. Okay. "Come hang out with me in the 4th, there's parties down there, and we'll watch the fireworks." So...
Unless she's like trying to imply I have to spread my legs and let
Hands as it heads over toward the first base dugout. Looks like everyone's okay, however. Donnie couldn't pull that one back as he clearly broke the plane to the plate, and that'll be ruled a strike. And did he go around? No, he did not. Ball 2. The 2-2.
Frank goes to Lincoln, Dean does, and stays with Franny at her duplex until July 9th. So they're there for together for days, staying together. Yeah, you don't do that unless you're in a relationship. When both Dean and Franny left Lincoln, they went to Verdigris. The same day, they went to a physician in Verdigris, and he had his blood test done for HIV and syphilis. So that's what they're testing for, the biggies.
That's tough for a lady, because a lady's got to have her pants down, and it's just like, I can stick my arm.
I think you got to stick a thing up your dick for one of those.
Didn't he say blood? Just
blood for HIV.
Oh,
I don't know.
They swab the dick?
I don't know if they...
That sounds awful.
Thank fuck, I've never been in the... Yeah, that's...
I've never had that issue.
No.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Fuck yeah, that sounds disturbing. That'll make you keep it. So, now, Thompson here, Franny, describes this as the first step in considering a serious relationship with Frank. She said that she was concerned about sexually transmitted diseases because she knew that Dean had been engaged in sexual activity with other women. He's 40, so at some point he's probably had sex with another woman.
What's the password?
I was concerned
password?
because he was an adult and all. fine. That's fine.
It should be Bottles 1 or Capital Bottles 1.
Fucking Bottles, that's it. I was like, God damn it. Like,
oh, God damn, you stole a whole goddamn computer, you little fucker.
I told you I was going.
No, I thought you were going to use them.
Oh, I mean, dude, just...
I'm not upset about it.
I was just checking like, something, like, because
when you did that, like, it took me a second.
I want to see if this is. Like, I think I got it going without the computer, but I just want to see if it's going working or not.
Now, on Tuesday, July 16th,
dude, are you really?
Franny started a letter to Frank inviting
we're talking boy to boy. I'm like,
dude, I wouldn't. No,
I still have to. Okay, she wrote, quote,
apparently the shit doesn't delete me.
But think about it.
I mean, dude, yeah, I would never
fucking around, but like, at the same time, it's like, we got the respect.
I already know that, dude. Like, and I know.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, I'm sorry if I demeaned.
I was like, really? Like,
no, dude, it wasn't like.
Yeah, I understand. I got you, dude. It's all good.
I just told Bruno, and I was like, hey, I've never had a crew that had each other's back more than we got fucking.
Oh, dude, man, like, yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah.
Hey, I love.
I don't want to do that just because, I mean, not that,
no,
you know,
yeah,
it's wrong, you know.
I know.
Yeah.
But like, dude,
she also wrote,
what we said today to Kevin,
now a ball lined to the left side. Foul. Another try at 2-2. Now a check swing, but that's it. Digging in now, Miguel Andujar. He'll lead things off here in the bottom half of the first.
I feel you, dude. I'm about to fucking burst and fucking go crazy. I think I'm fucking streaming, dude. You want to come here and do play-by-play?
Now the pitch. Clearly off with his timing on that one, a swinging strike. Swing and a miss, and he's quickly in the hole 0-2. Can't get him to chase. It's 1-2.
That's great recognition right there on the part of the hitter. Not many guys lay off that one. That was a classic strikeout pitch. The 0-2, good changeup with some depth.
She promised to tell Dean all about it on Saturday. And then she signed the letter, hugs and ... stuff. My songs. Hugs and this crazy sex show on the show we don't know sorry about.
Hugs and Morse code, dude. This taps out.
Tap, that's still a little bit. That's what I'm standing for, so. You know how it goes. So Franny's back in Atkinson again on July 22nd. Now around this time, Franny told Frank that she wanted to meet his ex-wife and his children. She's got children, an ex-wife and everything. Now according to Franny, this is just according to Franny, Frank became, quote, very angry and very upset at the request.
The 1-2.
Franny meeting, which she said made her suspicious.
This pitch is popped up. Jones has a play, and he hauls it in for the first out of the inning. Now batting, DJ LeMahieu, as he'll get his first opportunity in this one.
She responded by writing 2 versions of a letter to Frank on June 22nd.
The pitch.
July 22nd. Jesus Christ with these letters.
Here's a breaking ball, but it doesn't quite find the strike zone.
The other version was found at her farmhouse. In the version left at the trailer, Frank accused Frank of, quote, jacking with her. You're like, you only want jacking with yourself. That's what I understand. From what I hear that shit coming from the next room, I ain't blind.
I don't want to be jacking with you. I want to be fucking with you. I don't like when you jack to the It's weird. I was fun. So,
just off the outside that time, laid off for a ball. Too high, and it's 3-0.
To be honest with you, I'm a little bit more afraid of the guy on deck than the guy that's up right now. If I'm on the mound, I want this guy up right now. He's the guy that's got to beat me.
And he missed with that one. It's ball 4. A one-out walk here in the home first.
Because she did not want him and didn't care who he was. That's what she tells the cops. So what about this note that says she's goading you into more jealousy?
It's not just into jealousy, more indicating you have some.
That's the thing. Well, she claims the cops. Well, I'm quote guilty of playing the game. That's what she said with Dean when she said she was jealous, in the hope that by feeding his ego and quote head patting and sucking up, that he would be complimented and then he would straighten up and be more honest. That's what she's going for.
That's the one.
That's a theory. That's a big theory.
Why don't you just stop writing and have a talk?
Have a talk. Well, this is I think you're getting interrogated about a shooting. Well, because I got rid of his who did that. And because I saw him at the grocery store, I figured I should kill his grandma. Right? No.
Any therapist will tell you this is some passive aggressive habit. They need to just have a conversation.
From the belt, kicks and deals. High in the air down the right field line. But this will wind up being a foul ball.
Now, further to say that she is, quote, just using the word jealousy for the footage in place of the word disgust. You know what? They mean two very different things. You know, we can't use the words for other words that don't mean the same thing. That's the thing. We can use synonyms in place of words. But if I say, I hate you, I can't say, well, I need to say, I like you, but I use the word hate in place of like.
These aren't even answers.
They're not even answers. This is complete
opposites to what they just saying. Muddy the water.
No, this is saying I had salad for dinner. I actually had steak, but I said salad for steak. Those aren't the same. They're just different things. I had apples, but I ordered oranges. No, you ate different things. They're just different. So, we were jealous too, disgusted. She said, though, for telling someone you're disgusted...
LeMahieu leads off first with one away. And he fouls this one off.
I'm not telling my real feelings. I'm hoping to get what I want, even though I'm not telling them what I feel or what.
She's doing nothing for people saying that college makes you smart.
60 later, way more diluted. So, Freddie then wrote Frank that he had, quote, slapped her upside the head with another woman. That's what she wrote, too. That's not just but with another woman. Then refused to answer her questions about the other woman, and that, quote, nothing could be more viciously calculated to make her work. Later in the letter, she then alluded to another woman Frank had apparently mentioned, and she says this, quote, and that remark last night about some woman's, quote, stuff all over, that's
Here's the 0-2. Good slider there, but laid off and called the ball low. Swing and a miss on the changeup, and there are 2 gone. Striding in, Giancarlo Stanton. And this pitch is taken on the inner half for strike 1. Oh, he had him fooled there.
So, couldn't help it there. So,
no balls and 2 strikes.
That was doing it again, too.
Swing and a miss for strike 3. Pulled the string on him that time, and the inning is over.
Here, he told me he had a ribbon here. What did she look like? Was I agreeing?
Second inning set to go, and digging in is the big-time power threat, Nolan Jones. Ready to deliver. Here's the first pitch. Hit hard on the ground to second. Gloved by LeMahieu. Throw to first will be in time, and there's 1 gone here to start the second. So digging in now, Joe Torre. He'll get to take his first cuts.
It is bringing them up and making me wonder and worry. ... I love you, and I want to keep you.
Whoa.
Oh, boy. Now, in the other version of the letter, she accuses him of, we'll talk about, he accuses her of other, she accuses him of other stuff. Now, she accused him of being like sly and evasive rather than being as aggressive as she is in this one. So there are different tones. So you take those two and you go, to 2 different people, I don't know what to respond to.
Yeah.
You know, you'd be like, how do you respond to that?
Yeah, playing devil's advocate, though, there are so many guys that love this.
Oh, yeah.
Encourage it by doing
There's
dumb
people
shitty
that like
things.
drama.
They're just calculated and mischievous, and they're just shitbags to women, and they make them do this shit.
Oh, yeah.
Causing the whole
They
crazy
like it because
ex-girlfriend.
it makes them feel
Hell yeah.
important. Now, Frank's telephone records show that on July 23rd, he made 2 long-distance calls to Franny's number and talked for 38 minutes one time and 37 minutes another time. Franny says later on that Frank had told her he did not think about the letter she had left in his trailer the previous day, and that he had just thrown it in a drawer. That's what she says. Yeah. So a letter which Franny will testify to later that she wrote on July 23rd was found in his trailer, and it contained 4 paragraphs which, according to the letter, were added after Thompson talked to Dean that night. So this is like she continued the letter later after she talked to him, and it goes a little something like this.
Oh no. She started with one emotion, talked to him, and continued with another.
And there's a different one here.
Oh, boy.
So I tried to communicate with you, and you, quote, threw it in a drawer, is what she says. This is definitely a relationship.
Yeah.
Like, this is not...
Oh, boy.
This is oh boy.
And it's been happening for a while.
Yeah. That's what I'm worth to you. Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
I remember these texts.
We're 2 guys who've been divorced, so that's what I'm worth to you is always going to come up in a divorce. So I guess I was ready for that. I had this written yesterday. Like I said, minimum of hard feelings. I don't need you for an enemy. Sure, sorry I ... ruined our friendship ... You left shit here. Okay?
She's vibing while she writes this.
I think so. That's my ellipses. That's what she calls her vibrator, ellipses. I don't think you'll worry too much about it. Seems you told me you left stuff at Bitch's place all over the country. I'm just another one now. Now, the following day, July 24th, Franny writes a letter to her son, informing him that she had a, quote, fatal fight with Frank. Discussing this fatal fight. This is before the murder. 3 weeks before. She said, quote, what was our fatal fight, you wonder? And she capitalizes fatal fight, like just the F's. Weird. Oh, it's a long story, kid. So she does call him kid. I mean, things have been happening since you left. Mommy was naughty, and Mommy is paying now. That sounds really... This is one of the creepiest things.
I want to tell you, but it'd be weird for me.
It'd be super weird. So I've been fucking the farmhand, right? Then I got this huge dildo. But it vibrates great. And I was like, you need to fuck me with this. And he's like, I don't think so. And then we went back and forth. He's like, there's bitches stuff all over. And I was like, ew, it's on the counter. And you don't want to tell your kid that for early in the baby. You know how it is.
Hey, kid, just want you to know, Mommy had her icky parts looked at by a doc.
Still icky. So she says then, quote, come to find out that not only very rich old ladies like Grandma need to worry about men romancing them for their money. Dean was trying to romance me for the money and the farm he thought I'd have soon. So she also then speculated of whether Dean was going to give her trouble and that he might harm her pet pig, he might break in, or suggest to others that Fran should be robbed. This is what she says in the letter. She comments numerous times about how worried and scared she was, although she admitted that she often, quote, got overexcited about things and overreacted in the letter as well. I know I always get overexcited and overreact, so I could be doing that, but... She also referred to the letter, she also referred to a previous relationship here in the letter. She says, quote, I remember Ron. I remember lots of violence and threats and evil behavior and how stupid I can be, and I do expect real problems now from Dean, too. She stated she was a fool and that her ego was crushed flat. She also then concluded by reassuring her son. This is to her son, not her therapist, not her girlfriend from fucking college, not her son.
She's got bizarre writing tactics.
Get a friend. Yeah. Get a fucking friend. Your kid doesn't need to worry about this when he's in the fucking Navy. It's not his problem.
He's got to go out there and defend the country while worry about mom at home.
Fuck me. Don't worry about me now, she says, after all that shit. Passive aggressive as fuck. Remember, I may whine and cry, but I is a tough old lady and a damn good shot, too. So, that's something. So on July 25th, this just keeps going here, Franny was in Jedlicka's hardware store. Jedlicka's Hardware Hank Store. That's what it's called. Jedlicka's Hardware Hank.
Jedlicka and Hardware Hank. It's our
Okay.
store.
Great. At this time, she purchased 357 shells and inquired about the type of hardware needed to hold a 2x4-inch board against a door to secure. The owner of the hardware store will later say that he did not have the type of brace requested by her, and he referred her to a welder that could make this metal brace for her. So Franny will say that she had brackets made for an entry doorway sometime in July or August. The brackets are 2x4-inch board. The brackets and a 2x4-inch board were found in place on one of Thompson's doors the day Frank was killed.
She's trying to,
Like
the slide that goes in front of it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
like old school, like you're defending a fort,
Right.
like you're defending a barn.
Yeah, the only time you ever see it is when people like put it on a barn.
Yeah, like cowboys are
Right.
trying to keep the sheriffs out of the barn as they figure out, well, we had to regroup, and are we going to have a shootout or give it up? So on July 28th, Franny and Dean went to a state park together. Okay, a state conservation officer visited briefly with them as they were leaving, and he'll later say that Franny was sitting in the middle of the front seat of the car next to Frank when they drove away. Not on the bench seat next to him, not over in the passenger side.
That's
50 snuggling.
yeah. That's country song on a dirt road.
Yeah.
Get comfy, girl, because I'm gonna try to finger you.
That's right here in the car.
Yeah.
Watch out for the bumps. Oh, that one. Bumps will get you, huh? Now that's
Need too close for this one.
yeah. That same day, Dean gives Franny $300 for her upcoming trip to Chicago. She's got a Chicago trip to see her son graduate from boot camp there.
Because he's clearly in this for the money.
Clearly,
You know what I mean?
obviously, and for the money, he's giving up the money. So Franny then will say that Frank was being pushy that day on the issue of marriage, and that she told him that she would not marry him. She claims that she could not remember Frank's word in response to her rejection of him, but his statement reminded her of an old saying of her mother's to the effect of, if I can't have you, nobody else will. Meaning, if you don't marry me, I'll kill you. That's what she said, he said. August 1st, Franny flies to Chicago to see her son graduate from Naval Boot Camp there. Phone records indicate that Franny called Frank Collect 5 times during her 4-day visit in the Chicago area. Collect conversations lasting between 9 and 26 minutes. So they like to talk, clearly. They stay in contact.
Yeah.
Now, Franny gets back on August 4th. On the way home, Franny stops and telephones Dean's ex-wife, Betty. Betty Frank is involved in this now. So Betty Frank said that Franny told her that she and Frank were planning on getting married. She stopped at a fucking phone to call his ex-wife to make sure to tell him that they were getting married.
That's wild.
They're getting married, and she said she wanted to get better acquainted and to discuss with her visitation rights with the kids. She said she was just trying to make I'd like to make all of us get along and have a nice, thing here for your kids. So this is responsible. That's responsible.
That looks good.
That's what people should do. But she's clearly intending on marrying him.
Yeah.
If she's talking to the ex-wife about visitation.
No question.
She's in the family at that point. So, but later on, she says that she'll say that she no longer wanted to discuss visitation rights at the time she called, and that the real purpose was to gather information to find out if Frank meant his threat to kill her the previous week. But Betty refused to meet with Franny and hung up on her, is what she says.
What would Betty know?
So, Betty doesn't know shit. So she returned to the farm, and she called Frank and talked to him for over an hour and a half. I assume complaining that the ex-wife hung up on her. But she's like, I don't know, I fucking divorced her. I don't like her.
I did something, so I never have to have that phone call ever again.
Jesus Christ. So August 5th, Franny contacts Dolores Fisher, who is Frank's old girlfriend, who we talked about before.
Oh, the beer nap.
The beer nap, yeah. She lives in Atkinson and arranged to meet with Franny, and so Franny and Dolores are going to meet that day. Franny says that she told Dolores that once he was drunk, Dolores told Franny that he was drunk, Frank had threatened to slit Fisher's throat. That's what Franny says. So when Dean calls Franny that night, she called him a dirty name and hung up on him, is what she said. So August 5th, Franny writes to her son explaining that she had not been flirting with Frank when she called him from Chicago, but that she was merely postponing because if she could keep Frank hoping, he would not harm her home or her pet pig. So she said she would not But then she said she would not allow Frank to come over and fix her pig's irrigation pipe, even though he wanted to. She also wrote to her son that she might have, quote, blown her front by refusing to see Frank that evening, but that she could not bear to have Frank show her. She also wrote that Frank, quote, facing the drowning ground. Quote, who could stand it without vomiting? What? Is she schizophrenic? Like, is she all She said, who could stand it without puking? It's gross.
If somebody told me I had a face of a drowning man, I would be demolished.
And I can't stand it without vomiting.
Unbelievable.
Then later on in the letter, she admitted to her son that she also did kiss Frank and stuff. So, I fucking...
And now pitch on the way.
Yeah.
And now the second pitch of the inning is popped up over on the left side of the infield. In there, a base hit.
Yeah, I thought it was all license money. She was pleased that she called herself, she said, the honor student, had figured this out before Frank took her for anything, even though it had taken her a month to do so. She also wrote in reference to Frank, then she said, to the contrary, she wrote, I took him. He's been spending a lot of money on me this last month. Serves him right. My single biggest take was the $300 he gave me to fly to Chicago. Sucker. That's what she wrote to her son. If I'm with this kid, I'm like, my mother's deranged. I don't even want her letters. This is crazy.
He didn't enlist in the Navy to
get away from her, yeah.
He's like, anything for 4 years and free.
Fuck, maybe I can get to Iraq someday. No, it's not going to happen for a while. It's Desert Storm's
close,
coming up.
yeah.
Shit, that one's, damn it, not enough people are dying there. All right, well, okay. Where is it dangerous?
Send me to Bosnia.
Send me somewhere. So,
Sarajevo sounds nice.
Beautiful this time of year. It's better than verdigris. So Franny told her son that the reason she was afraid of Frank was because Frank would be pissed when he figured out that he was getting nothing from her. She thought that he might be able to figure things out with, quote, with his half a brain.
She hates him.
She hates him. However, she concluded, quote, he's a liar and a user and a fool in capital letters, and I ain't that scared of him. I'll just sleep with my 357 tonight, ... grin. Is what she writes. Yeah, that gets her horny. Sleeping with a 357. So on August 6th, Franny returns to Jedlicka's Hardware Hank and exchanges a box of 357 Max shells suitable for a rifle for a box of 357 Magnum cartridges for the revolver. She fucked up with the wrong one. Yeah. On August 6th, she wrote a letter to a friend in Omaha discussing Dolores Fisher. Franny wrote that she had concluded after meeting and talking to Fisher that Fisher still cared about Frank and still wanted, quote, to do him. She wants to do him, I swear. You know Dolores. This made her, quote, dislike Fisher.
Yeah.
She wrote to her...
Dolores.
It's always a Dolores. She wrote to her friend, but she could see Fisher's... She wrote to her friend that she could see Fisher's weakness and loneliness, and could see someone having pity on her. She also wrote in the same letter, she refers to Dean Frank as a, quote, classic sociopath.
What?
Hi, Kettle. I'm Pot. Awful nice shade of black you got there. What the fuck are we talking about? Well, what?
Fascinating, we both make tea.
Isn't that wild? Jesus Christ. She wrote that, quote, Frank's mistake was being a false friend to an intelligent and non-desperate lady. That's right. August 7th, Dean wrote Franny a letter, which stated, quote, you went downtown, got in a good argument with people, and got slapped around, exclamation point. Too bad you got beat up. I told you my past is dead, now it's gone too. You're literally into the wrong world if you believe others. I told you the truth. Love, Dean. So apparently she went down she went down to confront some woman about Dean, and this woman apparently slapped the shit out of her. So Franny got slapped around in town.
Literally in the wrong world.
In the wrong world. Now, on August 8th, Franny wrote Fisher a letter in which she admitted spending the night with Frank on Sunday, June 16th, but denied that she, quote, took any of her clothes off. Okay? So I fucked up with my clothes on. Why would she tell Dolores this for? Dolores doesn't care. Now, Franny was aware that Fisher had spent the night with Frank in his trailer on a Saturday night in June, perhaps the previous night to Thompson's visit. So, creepy. He's fucking multiple women here. She made the following comments about her relationship with Frank. Quote, you see what happened. Dean started telling me after that he loved me so much that he hadn't been screwing anyone else at all for months. And I was stupid enough to believe that. So I didn't know he was seeing you then, or I sure wouldn't have let him waste my time and backstab you by putting that snow job on me. When I want a houseboy, I'll hire one. I won't have someone pretending to be my friend come sucking up to me and lying to get my money. Oh boy. So he's got a telephone bill, Frank does, Dean, that says on August 10th he called Franny at 6:40 p.m. and they talked for 213 minutes.
Wow. That was
a fucking conversation.
Not a lot of smile in that conversation.
That's a 3.5-hour conversation. Jesus. Now, Franny says later on that she doesn't remember that conversation really well, but that she was just giving Frank the opportunity to talk for 3.5 hours.
A lot of guys will sit and spew their fucking guts for 3.5 hours.
Considering there's like 2 letters he wrote and 100 she wrote, it seems like she's the talker in this relationship. I'm not sure.
She doesn't remember that conversation very well.
Yeah.
3.5 hours of your day.
That's a lot.
A quarter of your day was spent on the fucking phone.
A shitload. So on August 11th, Dean Frank was at Franny's farm where he fixed the irrigation pipe and moved a refrigerator. Franny says that she told Frank on that day never to come back to her farm, and that Dean wrote out a piece of paper giving Franny all his property which he had stored on her farm, including a 1973 Ford pickup.
Yeah.
Wrote it out, it's all yours.
It always gives away.
I do it all the time. The document and the title to the pickup were found in Franny's kitchen after Frank was killed. Jesus Christ, did she make him do this like at gunpoint?
What the fuck?
Is that what happened?
Crazy ass
Or did
bitch.
she shoot him, go out to the truck and pull it out of the glove box?
That's what I mean, to be like, fill this fucking thing out.
Right.
Sign it over to, I don't know, or I'll kill you. I don't know what the fuck. August 12th, Monday, Franny wrote to her son that she, quote, took a chance by letting Frank come over to help her. She was willing to take a chance because she knew male psychology. Quote, men are too stupid to ever give up. So,
you know how many relationships my mom has told me about? Fucking zero.
Zero, yeah, you shouldn't know about stuff. Does she just write, let me tell you another thing. She's writing letters. I'm in the Navy. Leave me alone. So, having been rebuffed by Betty Frank when she tried to talk to her on August 4th, she then wrote Betty Frank a letter dated August 13th. In that letter, she said that her original purpose in contacting Betty had been to meet her because Thompson and Frank had planned to be married. However, she stated, quote, amazing how quickly things can change. The engagement is off. And Franny told Betty that Dean had been lying to her a lot, and she questioned her about what might happen next. Then she says, quote, how violent is he? He threatened to kill me if I wouldn't marry him, but I think that's a standard threat. Standard threat? Marry me or I'll kill you. That's so romantic. Thank you. Very standard. You know, you get down on one knee, you threaten to kill him. You know how it goes. You know how marriage is. Please tell me if I should.
Everything or nothing.
Yeah, and how much worry about retaliation from him. No one would know that better than you, I think. At least you are still alive, and that's encouraging. What? Jesus. Saturday, August 17th, day before the big event here, Franny wrote a letter to her son in which he stated that Frank had been calling her all week, but she had not told him what she really thought of him. She said, quote, this girlfriend of his that I met in Atkinson, apparently smacked the shit out of her too, told me that he got all drunk before and threatened to slit her throat. And Mrs. Boham told me a few days ago that he used to beat his wife all the time when they lived out here. I don't want that psycho around. I bought a new box of 357 shells and I'm going to load up and practice some this afternoon!
Christ.
Exclamation point. I bought a new box of 25 caliber shells a while back, and if I can find it, I'll give the little guy some exercise too. Wow.
You know where you put your ammo?
Yeah. Jesus. Now, a resident of a farm about a quarter mile away says that he heard shots which sounded like someone shooting target practice in the yard over there on Saturday, August 17th. She's getting her shit going. It sounded to him as if 2 different calibers of guns were being used because one group of shots was louder than another. 357 and a 25, which sound way different.
She found the box.
She found it. So that evening, Frank calls Franny at 7:06 p.m. They talked for 51 minutes. He called again at 10:12. They talked for 16 minutes. At 10:43, Franny calls the Knox County Sheriff's Office and reports to Don Henry, the chief investigator, a threatening phone call she had received. She says that Henry, the deputy, says that Franny called and said that she'd argued earlier in the week and that Frank had just called and threatened to send the Gats boys out to her place. Not the Gats boys! Oh, no!
Boys with disease?
Oh, they coming.
We know them.
Oh, we know them. The Gats boy, they're famous around these parts. So Franny also told Henry that Dean was angry because she refused to marry him and that Dean had previously threatened her. Henry will say that, testify later, the deputy, that Franny was very calm and matter-of-fact on the telephone and that she did not request that he come out and that he advised her to tape record future threatening conversations. So Frank's records, Dean's records on the phone show he called Thompson at 1:05 a.m. on August 18th and they talked for 13 minutes. She didn't hang up on him. Now, Franny testifies that Frank screamed things at her, threatening to slit her throat for checking on him, shoot her truck full of holes with her in it, burn her house, and butcher her pig. A lot of threats. However, though, Franny also testified that she didn't believe Frank was an immediate threat because he sounded, quote, drunk out of his mind, and she believed he was at least 2 hours away in Atkinson. So, Frank called again at 7:08 a.m. Jesus, this guy doesn't sleep. Franny claims that he
Standing in now, Chipper Jones. Hit in the air to straightaway center. Hicks is under it. He's got it, and there are 2 down now.
So then it's 5 hours later, 12-something.
Joe Carter will look for some 2-out magic here as he'll pinch hit with 2 gone and a runner at first. And a high strike there, 0-1. And a check swing here, but he pretty clearly broke the plane, and it's 0-2 now.
Couldn't stop pulling the trigger. So they charge her based on this with first-degree murder. Because once they found all the letters, they're like, because she's like, we don't have any relationship. I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, well, we found all these letters. And she's like, well, I was kind of lying to him, saying that we were going to get married because I was afraid of him and the thing and blah. And it's a little ridiculous. You read the letters. They're in a fucking relationship.
Yeah.
They're together. Come on. Yeah. So she is charged with first-degree murder and use of a firearm to commit a felony in the killing of Frank. They let her out on bail awaiting trial. She can let her out. She's fine. She's good. You know, she's
It's not dangerous.
she goes to school and stuff. You know how it goes.
It's kind of pig.